29th November 1935, Talk 106. Swami Yogananda with four others arrived at 8:45 a.m. He looks big but gentle and well-groomed. He has dark flowing hair hanging over his shoulders. The group had lunch in the ashram. Mr. C.R. Wright, his secretary, asked, "How shall I realize God, Maharashi?" God is an unknown entity. Moreover, he is external, whereas the self is always with you and it is you. Why do you leave out what is intimate and go in for what is external? Devotee. What is this self again, Maharaji? The self is known to everyone but not clearly. You always exist. The being is the self. I am is the name of God. Of all the definitions of God, none is indeed so well put as the biblical statement, I am that I am, in Exodus chapter 3. There are other statements such as, but none is so direct as the name Jivoham, I am. The absolute being is what? It is the self, it is God. Knowing the self, God is known. In fact, God is none other than the self. Devotee. Why are there good and evil? Maharashi. They are relative terms. There must be a subject to know the good and evil. That subject is the ego. Trace the source of the ego, it ends in the self. The source of the ego is God. This definition of God is probably more concrete and better understood by you. Devotee. So it is. How to get bliss, Maharashi? Bliss is not something to be got. On the other hand, you are always bliss. This desire is born of the sense of incompleteness. To whom is this sense of incompleteness? Inquire. In deep sleep, you were blissful. Now you are not so. What has interposed between that bliss and this non-bliss? It is the ego. Seek its source and find you are bliss. There is nothing new to get. You have, on the other hand, to get rid of your ignorance, which makes you think that you are other than bliss. For whom is this ignorance? It is to the ego. Trace the source of the ego, then the ego is lost and bliss remains over. It is eternal. You are that, here and now. That is the master key for solving all doubts. The doubts arise in the mind. The mind is born of the ego. The ego rises from the self. Search the source of the ego, and the self is revealed. That alone remains. The universe is only expanded self. It is not different from the self.